the left, Democrats were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships, they're firing bullets into dealerships, they're just, smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged... there's some kind of mental illness thing going on here.
So everyone, it's happening. It's a very sad day for Elon Musk. Top Tesla investor Ross Gerber has officially called for Elon Musk to step down as the head of Tesla.
I think we all make choices with our time, and Elon doesn't get more than 24 hours a day just because he's Elon. So we make choices. All of us do. Do we spend time with our family? Do we go golfing? Do we work? And how we do this is, each individual chooses. And so Elon chooses to work, all the time, but you can only work so many hours a day. So it's 24, right? And he sleeps. So there's no question he's been committed to his job at the government. That's where he's spending his time. He is not running Tesla. And, that's why I'm going to say it. I think Tesla needs a new CEO. And I decided today I was going to start saying it. And so this is the first show that I'm saying it on. It's time for somebody to run Tesla. The business has been neglected for too long. There's too many important things Tesla is doing. So either Elon should come back to Tesla and be the CEO of Tesla and give up his other jobs, or he should focus on the government and keep doing what he's doing, but find a suitable CEO for Tesla.
So you are saying, essentially, if he's not prepared to quit that government job, he needs to go?
Yeah, I think it's time.
This obviously comes on the back of Teslas being vandalized across America, Tesla dealerships being set on fire across the world, and just a general massive protest against the fascist Elon Musk. But weirdly enough, he's taking it really, really badly because we all know this dude is just such a fragile man-child. And he wants to be liked, and he basically wants his cake and he wants to eat it too. He wants to be the supervillain, gutting the federal government to make more money available for his Starlink projects or SpaceX. At the same time, he wants Tesla to not suffer any consequences, and he also wants people to love him at the same time. Because we've seen these interviews where he's basically on the verge of tears talking about this stuff. And I want to talk about this today because I do believe there is a part of him, maybe 10 minutes in the day, that his mind actually works properly amongst the ketamine haze and not being able to sleep, that he knows that he's killing Tesla and he's sacrificed Tesla for more political power. Because if you asked anyone rational who was in the pursuit of political power or being a supervillain, if you could do all this shit to enrich yourself even more and get your companies more in bed with the federal government, like Starlink and SpaceX, but you're going to have to destroy your car company, most people would say that's a good deal. I'm going to destroy this company, and yeah, sure, I'm going to take some hits in terms of my own personal fortune, which is tied up in Tesla stock, but I'm actually going to make myself more powerful. That seemed like a calculation most supervillains would make. And you think most supervillains wouldn't really think twice, but it feels like with Elon Musk, it's like Thanos when Gamora asks him if he achieved his goal of doing the snap. And he said it cost him everything, because of course he sacrificed his own daughter for it. It feels like Elon feels more like that, where it's actually really hurting him that people are both attacking Tesla and these attacks being an expression of their hate on him personally. And as we remember, after he got booed at that Dave Chappelle show, apparently he was crying loads afterwards. And I want to talk about all this today because it's pretty clear Elon is very unstable mentally. And in that, his logic towards this stuff is so incoherent and inconsistent that even though I still believe it is a calculated thing he's doing, he just cannot handle the emotional backlash. But that was part of his villain origin story anyway. His embarrassing need to be liked. And I am just so sick and tired of the dystopian future we're living in being so, I wouldn't call it disappointing, but when you grow up as a kid or a teenager or a young adult, you consume a lot of media with a lot of villains. A lot of dystopian fiction focuses on these very cunning, evil geniuses who essentially are the ultimate poker player, and they manipulate everyone to achieve their own ends through their sheer brilliance. That's the villain we've been sold in media. The future is so much dumber. It's three men going through a midlife crisis and for various different reasons, basically destroying our minds, and in some cases destroying a whole country like Elon Musk with the US, for profit, and in their desperate attempt to be liked by a certain group of the population. We have old Zuckerberg going from looking like an android to dressing like this, colonizing Hawaii so he can have a ranch, to have his own range of beef. Then we have, obviously, Jeff Bezos, who, again, is completely complying with Donald Trump and is going through his own midlife crisis as well. And then we just have Elon Musk, who's just, like, the most unhinged and having, like, a mental breakdown while just doing, like, terrible shit every day, spending all day on Twitter, paying people to game for him so he can be in with the gamers, and just desperately caring what people think of him, despite the fact he is literally, like, the most powerful man in the world at this point in terms of his political influence and his vast amounts of wealth. And again, disappointing. Where are my competent evil supervillains? Why is it all pathetic people that no one would trade places with? Like, would any of you want to be any of these people? So all of that coming up for you today. Please support me on Patreon or YouTube memberships, and follow me on social media at the Kavernacle on Blue Sky and Instagram. So we all remember a recent Fox News interview where Elon Musk got very emotional, basically being asked about Tesla and stuff and getting really upset.
But I just was looking back. Let me just see if I get this right. They're setting fire to various Tesla charging stations near Boston. Shots were fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon, New York, marching against the Tesla showroom. Your stock is way down. You've been criticized left and right. Call to action. You're hearing a call to action.
Yeah.
You giving up your other stuff? I mean, how are you running your other businesses?
With great difficulty. Yeah, I mean...
But there's no turning back, you're saying?
I'm just here trying to make government more efficient, eliminate waste and fraud, and so far we're making good progress.
What is funny is this wasn't like a one-off moment. He's like doubled down, and obviously we saw the whole Republican elite have like basically turned into Tesla promoters. We had the White House and that desperate, pathetic display of Donald Trump fulfilling the calling that he was born to do of being a used car salesman. And then we had people like Sean Hannity saying they're buying Teslas, loads of people saying this. But he gave a little speech where he spoke about this recently, and let's go into that before we talk about the new Fox News interviews.
Teslas will be available worldwide. So overall, you know, it's good. If you read the news, it feels like, you know, Armageddon. So I was like, I can't walk past the TV without seeing a Tesla on fire. And like, what's going on? You know, some people, it's like, listen, I understand if you don't want to buy our product, but you don't have to burn it down. That's a bit unreasonable, you know. Like, like, this is psycho. Stop being psycho. Okay.
And he went on Fox News to complain about this to Sean Hannity, and it's just so funny how clearly hurt he is by the protest and by the backlash.
It turns out when you take away people's, you know, what the money they're receiving fraudulently, they get very upset, and they basically want to kill me because I'm stopping their fraud, and they want to hurt Tesla because we're stopping this terrible waste and corruption in the government. And well, I guess they're bad people. Bad people will do bad things. I think they're getting desperate because, I mean, the reason we're seeing this extreme amount of hatred and violence is because we're actually succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste. If we weren't succeeding in getting rid of corruption and waste, they wouldn't care. But we are succeeding. Thanks. Without President Trump, this would be impossible. So I'd just like to say, you know, it's only possible with this president.
I have to ask, why? Why do I see people like I woke up this morning and saw that Teslas were put ablaze in one of your dealerships in Vegas? I've seen this happen all over the country. Bullets are being fired. Charging stations are put ablaze. Teslas are being put ablaze. You have experienced assassination, threats of assassination for you and your family. What have you done that warrants this? Because I see nothing that you have done except help our country.
Yeah, I mean, it's really come as quite a shock to me that there's this level of really hatred and violence from the left. I always thought the left, or Democrats, were supposed to be the party of empathy, the party of caring, and yet they're burning down cars, they're firebombing dealerships. They're firing bullets into dealerships. They're just, smashing up Teslas. Tesla is a peaceful company. We've never done anything harmful. I've never done anything harmful. I've only done productive things. So I think we just have a deranged. There's some kind of mental illness thing going on here, because this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
and I think there are larger forces at work as well. I mean, I don't know who's funding it and who's coordinating it, because this is crazy. I've never seen anything like this.
So yeah, it's clear Elon is very hurt by this. And I do think there's a part of him who is kind of shocked at the backlash. He does know he's trying to run America like a tech startup, and he is destroying millions of lives, unleashing these sycophantic Gen Z staffers to just destroy the country. And that's what he's doing. Donald Trump is allowing him to do this. And he is getting so butthurt that people are visibly hating him. And I think the main part of it is he doesn't care so much about Tesla as I don't think he gives a shit about the car so much. He cares about it as an expression of hatred against him. Like, he's saying, I've never done anything bad to anyone. The company has never done anything bad to anyone. First of all, both fucking bullshit. My first video about Elon Musk when I was like 22 on this channel was about how Tesla is a fucking terrible company to work for because they're union busters and they treat their employees like shit, and it's actually leads to loads of them getting injured working for Tesla. Like, it's always been a terrible company. And then you've always been a terrible person. You've hurt so many people, and especially recently, you've actually set America on a trajectory which is going to destroy the lives of potentially like millions of people. And you're only crying because people are firebombing Tesla dealerships. But let's just end this talking about Elon himself a bit more. So, if you guys don't know, Elon Musk's dad hates him. And I've made a video about, like, the Musk family. And to be fair, his dad is terrible. And he did have a terrible relationship with his father. But sometimes when I heard his dad speak about Elon, I kind of, like, agreed with what he was saying. So there's one example where Elon ended up, I think, in hospital because a kid had pushed Elon down the stairs when he was at school. I think it was like a private school. The dad comes in and like asks the school, like, what did he do? Like, no way my son could have deserved this. And then they said, yeah, he bullied the kid about their dead mum. So the kid pushed him down the stairs. And the dad was like, he deserved it. He deserved it. It just seems like Elon has always been a person who is insanely devoid of empathy for anyone. And it's also clear he has also sought so much validation from just anyone. Could be a result of his father, but who the fuck knows? Only his therapist could know. But even with everything he's done since he's been in the public eye, everything to do, remember that Thai diver stuff where he's saying, we're going to save the kids, and then call the guy who actually rescued them a nonce? That was back in 2018, by the way. But it's always been stunts and attention seeking. And fundamentally, he's just always wanted attention on himself. And he doesn't have the self-awareness to realize how embarrassing he is, realize how cringy he is. So he does stuff that the most pathetic person in your life would do to be liked. So he pays people to play video games on his account to make him seem like he's the best gamer ever. He does that. He constantly tweets under random ass accounts glazing him and defending him from criticism. I wouldn't be surprised if he begged Donald Trump to do that stupid showcase or promised him something like in terms of money, because that's how desperate and pathetic he is. So I say all that to say, while I firmly believe Elon Musk has sacrificed Tesla at the altar of becoming a supervillain and becoming so powerful, at the same time, the reason he's having such an unhinged reaction to Tesla's decline is because he just wants to be liked. Fundamentally, he is a child. He wants to be told he's doing a good job, and he cannot understand why people even hate him. Despite all the terrible shit he's doing, despite all the lives he's ruining, despite how controversial he is, he can't understand why people hate him so much. And that goes beyond the fact that he has self-radicalized himself on Twitter. Like, he was always a bad guy politically. You couldn't call him a fascist for most of his adult life. Like, you genuinely couldn't. I know people would say he's always had bad politics. His grandfather was actually a fascist and stuff, which I've made videos on. Yeah, he has. But you couldn't say that because he wasn't one. And remember, this guy endorsed Joe Biden for president over Donald Trump as well. What happened is he just became self-radicalized. And we see that with people like J.K. Rowling as well. Like, not to say these people aren't terrible people, but Elon and her, they spend all their time on Twitter reading all this shit about them, constantly going down these rabbit holes and facing dog piles where they just radicalize themselves into a far-right ideology which they constantly now espouse, and they firmly made themselves into full fascists. But in Elon's case, that came out of his desperate need to be liked by people, and that's why he just does so many pathetic stunts, which to us, they're so cringe-inducing. And even like the stuff with the Nazi salute, like he did that for attention. It wasn't an expression of pure like Nazi fanaticism on his part, despite the fact he agrees with most of that ideology. He did it for attention on 4chan. That's why he did it. He wanted to be talked about. That's why he was making all the jokes afterwards. And that is why this hurts him so bad. And that's why he's crying so much about Tesla going down, because he just can't handle the backlash. And like I said, any calculating supervillain would do this emotionlessly. Like, I am going to trade Tesla for this power, but not him. He's so upset about people doing all these terrible things and saying all these terrible things about him, and just this huge public expression of, we hate you. If a guy can't handle being booed at a comedy show, do you think he can handle people all firebombing things, saying, this is because I hate you so much? And that's like millions of people around the country being like, I agree with this happening. Of course he can't handle it. So that's why it's not even a meltdown. It's just like it's just like him crying and being like, I've never hurt anyone. I've never hurt anyone. Why are you doing this to me? I mean, I'm not going to promise this, but this will probably be the end of my Tesla coverage, unless there's something like really insane that happens, and the end of my Cybertruck coverage. Not the end of my Elon coverage, sadly, which is annoying because I would love to never speak about this guy again. And like I said, I have to be constantly reminded that all the supervillains in the world are just the most pathetic, insecure men having a midlife crisis after they turn 40 or 50, and collectively in the world, we have to experience the effects of one person's midlife crisis as it like destroys a country or the planet. So that is it for the video. Let me know what you guys think, and if you made it this far, thank you for watching.